Our region's population of young people is growing, and so is a new spirit of entrepreneurship. Incubators and accelerators are helping innovators turn ideas into companies. And we've covered the stories of organizations such as Alpha Lab and Ascender that provide the support fledgling companies need. But one thing that's been lacking around here, at least relative to other regions, is co-working spaces. Lately, co-working has become a hot real estate phenomenon in our region, and New York City-based Industrious has opened its first co-working space in Pittsburgh. And Jamie Hodari is the co-founder and CEO, and welcome to Pittsburgh. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about co-working, and this is a relatively new venture for you. What did you see as the opportunity?
So co-working, the way I see it is essentially it's a recalibration of what's private and what's public in a work setting. So you think about, for 100 years, companies were willing to share the lobby of a building together. They're willing to share an elevator bank, but the presumption was that everything else would be unique to your company, your own conference areas, your own coffee lounge, etc. And all co-working is saying, what if you recalibrated that a bit, apply, what we would think of as sharing economy dynamics to it, so that you have 30, 40, 50 companies in a co-working complex sharing things like bars, coffee lounges, relaxation rooms, different types of conference
copiers,
rooms,
the printing machines, stuff like that?
Everything.
Okay. And so that's basically the idea behind it. I mentioned in the beginning, we have these ideas here in Pittsburgh. We've been doing for a while, incubators, accelerators, old warehouse, bunch of beanbag chairs, some desks, a lot of very hungry young entrepreneurs starting a business. Your vision's a little different than that, and the spot of this is a little different.
Yeah. When we launched the business, it was actually my next door neighbor from growing up. His name is Justin Stewart, and we were
from
both
Michigan originally.
From
right?
Michigan,
okay,
yeah. And we were both working in sort of shared office settings like this, and said, look, this is going to be an extraordinarily compelling value proposition to a really wide variety of business types. So it's not just startups. It's not just a couple of 24-year-olds trying to get their first idea off the ground, but the opportunity to get to take advantage of shared resources, and as a result, have a much more elegant, much more exciting, much more engaging office experience would probably be appealing to law firms, accounting firms, PR firms, to Fortune 500 companies, et cetera. And so we built a co-working brand and a business that was more elegant, more sophisticated, and that would appeal to businesses like that. And it has, across now a very wide variety of cities across the country, has proven to be a pretty, I think, exciting and sort of attractive proposition to businesses like that.
Well, you certainly are perched atop one of Pittsburgh's signature buildings, one PPG Place, so you couldn't have a more prestigious address and location, I think, than the Penthouse in a building like that. A big part of your brand and philosophy to look for that kind of a location?
Yeah, I think we're a premium product in our sector, and I think we really want to, whether it's being on a high floor, being in a really crown jewel asset, we want people to feel like they're working out of somewhere that they're going to feel proud and excited to have clients come, to a meeting at. And I think this particular location is probably, in certain ways, the ne plus ultra of that for us across the country, to be on the 31st floor, to sort of, sit at your desk or host a meeting and look out over the whole city and the surrounding region, I think is pretty exciting for our customers.
And you mentioned you've got a footprint across the country now. You've been growing the business. So what finally brought you to Pittsburgh?
We, I think the core of demand and why demand is growing very quickly for co-working is that you increasingly have businesses saying, more than ever, I need to be able to provide to my employees a really wonderful, happy, engaging work experience. And if I don't, I'm going to lose the battle for the best talent against my competitor. And I think the industries that tend to invest in that tend to be knowledge, sort of work-based industries, hiring engineers, professionals of different sorts. And I think Pittsburgh is not only a city that I think has a long tradition of having a highly educated, very dynamic workforce, but we're seeing that increasing more and more. So for us, Pittsburgh is exciting because we can have a location downtown, but this is a city where we can get to 4, 5, 6 locations over time because of the size of that workforce.
Well, that's interesting, and we know we have a disproportionately large concentration of headquarters type corporate employees here in Pittsburgh. So good to know the word's getting out and somebody's seeing a business opportunity there. So I assume the model is, depending on the needs of the individual organization, they can have as much or little space. Is it pretty fungible in terms of how the economics of it adapt for a business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have, Fortune 500 companies that have 200-person, offices or teams at Industrious. The typical size would be teams of 1 to 40. And the way it works is we really believe companies need to have their own private offices. So if you've been to an incubator and you picture there's a giant wide open space and people just rent seats in a big sort of open pit, that's not the way an Industrious would look. You're in your own, let's say you're a 6-person PR firm, you're in your own private offices when you need to sit at your desk and work on Excel or write up a document. But there's libraries, there's like I said, relaxation rooms, there's lots of common areas, and those you share with lots of other businesses.
Really exciting. So if somebody wants to find out about it, if you've got some space left in your new location, you have a website, I assume?
It's industriousoffice.com, and what I would say is we do still have some space left, but we feel very excited about this particular opportunity because Pittsburgh has opened with top 15 to top 10% demand of our whole national network. So it's been a huge success thus far for us.
Well, that is really great to hear. Again, welcome to Pittsburgh. Good to have Industrious in town.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next up, Public Allies, the organization that operates AmeriCorps in our region, avoids the federal budget acts, at least for now. What it means to nonprofit organizations that provide essential social services when our region's business returns. Stay with us.